The United States Federal Communications Commission, FCC, voted 4-0 on Thursday to set new rules to address the growing threat of orbital debris to space exploration by decreasing the time required to remove defunct satellites from orbit. What kind of danger does the trash pose while drifting in space? And if that's the case, what exactly are the dangers of exploration? Stay tuned as we dig much deeper into the subject. To begin, let's look at an overview of how the U.S. agency adopts to the new space junk rules. The FCC voted to compel low Earth orbit satellites to be decommissioned after 5 years. The government previously advised operators of low Earth orbit satellites to ensure that spacecraft re-enter Earth's atmosphere within 25 years. It means more accountability and less chance of collisions that create orbital debris and the potential of space communication failures, said FCC Chair Jessica Rosenworcel. The U.S. Telecoms Authority observed that more than half of the 10,000 satellites launched since 1957 are no longer operational. Defunct satellites, discarded rocket cores, and other debris now fill the space environment, creating challenges for current and future missions, the FCC said, noting that there were over 4,800 satellites in orbit at the end of last year, with the vast majority of those being commercial low Earth orbit satellites. The second space epoch has arrived. We must do more to clean up after ourselves for space innovation to continue thriving, Rosenworcel stated. NASA has supported several university researches on space debris, and a bipartisan group of senators has introduced legislation to kickstart the development of debris removal technology in the United States, according to FCC Commissioner Jeffrey Starks. He said the new rule would change the trajectory of debris proliferation. It will also prevent collisions while freeing up resources that would otherwise be used to avoid them. Moving on, SpaceX plans 3 flights from 3 different launch pads in 31 hours. SpaceX will launch 3 Falcon 9 rockets in the next few days. Minor difficulties with 2 of the 3 missions, on the other hand, have exacerbated an already difficult task of coordinating so many launches at once. Rocket launches are naturally difficult to schedule for various reasons. The problem is significantly compounded when attempting to launch rockets as rapidly as possible for clients with widely disparate needs while employing a limited number of launch pads. SpaceX's upcoming launch schedule exemplifies the hazardous nature of high-caliber rocket launch scheduling better than others. Last month, SpaceX had complications, mostly lousy weather, that caused delays in its Starlink 434, 435, and 436 flights. Before the delays, SpaceX planned to break its LC-40 pad turnaround record with Starlink 435 and then repeat the feat with Starlink 436. But that opportunity was lost when Starlink 434's multiple weather delays pushed Starlink 435 from September 19th to September 24th, increasing the risk of Starlink 436 interfering with customer missions scheduled for the first half of October. Because of the influx of client missions, all of which take precedence over SpaceX's Starlink missions, a few-day delay for a task 2 launches prior delayed Starlink 436 from the end of September to no earlier than October 20th. It will launch from the Cape Canaveral Space Forces Station CCSFS LC-40 pad, the same pad that launched Starlink 435 on September 24th. It will carry Intelsat's Galaxy 33 and 34 satellites no earlier than NET October 6th and Eutelsat's Hotbird 13F satellite no earlier than NET October 13th. Following that, NASA spacecraft successfully slams into an asteroid 10 months after SpaceX launch. NASA's Double Asteroid Redirect Test DART spacecraft successfully impacted an asteroid moon 10 months after it launched into interplanetary space on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The goal: slam into the tiny asteroid moon Dimorphos at 6.3 kilometers per second, 14,000 miles per hour, Mach 18. After flying for 10 months and hundreds of millions of kilometers through space, the spaceship successfully crashed into a target around 160 meters, 530 feet wide, barely 17 meters away from a flawless bullseye. The successful impact could represent a big step forward in the realm of planetary defense, depending on the conclusions NASA and dozens of other organizations will now attempt to extract from ground and space telescopes. The primary purpose of planetary protection is to safeguard humanity's home planet against asteroids, a hazard that has routinely triggered massive extinction catastrophes throughout Earth's multi-billion-year history. DART is the first attempt to test and verify what appears to be the simplest and most obvious way of redirecting asteroids, knocking them off course with the spacecraft itself. However, planetary science and the behavior of items under microgravity settings tend to contradict predictions. Thus, testing that premise is critical. Instead of hitting any random NEO, a small spacecraft may collide into a tiny asteroid moon of a much larger planet asteroid. Hitting an asteroid moon would decrease the slight but non-zero chance of mistakenly turning the target towards Earth while simultaneously amplifying the results, making them much easier to monitor from tens of millions of kilometers distant. Up next, the satellites are part of the agency's next program and are scheduled to launch in 2024 and 2025. Ball Aerospace was given a $176 million contract by the Space Development Agency on October 4th to build, operate, and secure launch services for 10 experimental satellites. The satellites, scheduled to launch in 2024 and 2025, are part of the agency's next program, which aims to demonstrate low-latency data transfer and command and control beyond line of sight. The acronym NEXT stands for National Defense Space Architecture Experimental Test Bed. Ball Aerospace will manufacture the satellites, integrate government-supplied payloads, procure rideshare launches, supply the ground control system, and operate the satellites from its Colorado headquarters. The NEXT trials will help the Space Development Agency deploy its constellations of data transport and missile tracking satellites in low Earth orbit during the next few years. SDA will evaluate the utility of the NEXT payloads once they are in orbit before incorporating them into operational systems. SDA has chosen the loads, but has not specified what missions they will carry out. NEXT is an intriguing initiative with many links to our mission partners that will assist progress future tranches of the National Defense Space Architecture, stated Derek Tourneur, SDA Director. Ball Aerospace is pleased to collaborate with SDA on the future NEXT program, stated Ball Aerospace President Dave Kaufman. For decades, the business has produced satellites for the Defense Department, NASA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Moving on, SpaceX launches high-performance satellite internet for home users. SpaceX released a high-performance satellite internet option specifically tailored for companies in February. The higher-tier kit is a step up from the ordinary Starlink system thanks to its larger dish with double the antenna capability and quicker internet speeds. The service looked appealing, but there was one catch. It costs a tremendous $2,500 for the high-performance satellite internet system and a whopping $500 per month for the service itself. According to recent modifications to the official Starlink website, a high-performance satellite internet kit is now available for residential clients as well, with no monthly cost of $500. While residential customers who want to have Starlink's high-performance satellite internet kit will still have to pay $2,500 for the hardware, they will just have to pay $110 per month for the service. Residential customers that choose a high-performance dish may be able to take advantage of more of Starlink's features for the same monthly charge. According to SpaceX, the high-performance Starlink kit is best suited for people who live in severe settings, such as hot or freezing climates. According to Starlink's support page, the high-performance dish provides greater download speeds in hot weather, better snowmelt capability, improved water resistance, and better satellite sight. High performance can view 35% more sky, according to Starlink's support page, enabling it to connect to more satellites and better serve users with unconventional installations, unavoidable obstructions, or in polar greater than 59 degrees latitude and equatorial regions where there are fewer visible satellites. Finally, Elon Musk activates Starlink for Iranian citizens after U.S. Secretary of State issued a general license. In reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's tweet announcing the issuance of a general license to give the Iranian people access to digital communications, Elon Musk announced the activation of Starlink. "We took action today to improve internet freedom and the free flow of information for the Iranian people," Secretary Blinken stated. Massive protests are currently taking place in Iran in response to the death of Mahsa Amini, 22, who was imprisoned by morality police for not properly wearing her headscarf. Although she had no known cardiac problems, authorities stated she died unexpectedly of heart failure. According to witnesses, she was battered and her head struck the side of a police cruiser. This leaked medical imaging revealed a cerebral hemorrhage and stroke. In response to her killing, multiple large-scale protests have taken place around Iran, with international support from world leaders, celebrities, and organizations. The Iranian government has sided with the moral police. It has suppressed the protests by shooting protesters with metal pellets and birdshot and using tear gas and water cannons. To prevent protesters from organizing, the government blocked access to various apps, including Instagram and WhatsApp, and limited internet access. Starlink comes into play here. Elon Musk announced a few days ago that Starlink would seek an exemption from Iranian sanctions. This was in response to @Irfan Kazray's question about whether Elon could supply Starlink to Iranians. It has the potential to be a game changer for the future. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.